The neon sign flickered to life at exactly 11:58 p.m. on November 24th, cutting through the darkness like a knife. Riverside Shopping Center. Grand reopening. One night only. Ethan Cross stood frozen on the empty street, staring at the building that had been dark and abandoned for 25 years. The supermarket's windows glowed with warm, inviting light. Inside, he could see rows of perfectly stocked shelves, gleaming floors, and impossibly people. Staff members in crisp uniforms moved behind checkout counters. Customers pushed shopping carts down aisles. Music drifted out through doors that shouldn't have opened. But Ethan knew this place. Everyone in Millbrook knew Riverside Shopping Center. It had burned in 1998, on Black Friday, killing 47 people. The building had been sealed, condemned, left to rot as a monument to tragedy. The city council had tried to demolish it 3 times. Each time, the equipment failed. Workers reported hearing voices, seeing movement in the windows. Eventually, they just stopped trying. And now it was open. Ethan's phone buzzed. A text from his girlfriend. "Claire, where are you? It's almost midnight." He started to type a response, then stopped. In the supermarket window, a woman in a cashier's uniform was waving at him, smiling, gesturing for him to come inside. Her name tag read, "Margaret, here to help," in cheerful letters. Behind her, Ethan could see the store's interior in perfect detail, fresh produce gleaming under bright lights, bakery displays overflowing with bread and pastries, sales signs advertising prices from $1,998. The woman's smile widened. Her hand kept waving, mechanical, repetitive, and Ethan realized with dawning horror that she wasn't blinking. None of them were blinking. The clock on the building's facade clicked to midnight. Midnight Madness sale begins now. The doors swung open on their own. Welcome back, horror family. Before we descend into tonight's nightmare, I need to know, where are you watching this from? Drop your city in the comments. And tell me, have you ever seen a business that seemed frozen in time? A store that shouldn't still be operating? A restaurant that closed years ago but somehow still has lights on at night? Smash that like button if you're ready for one of the most disturbing stories I've ever covered. Subscribe and hit the bell, because what happened at Riverside Shopping Center on Black Friday 1998, it's still happening. Every year, at midnight, for exactly 1 hour. And some people who go inside never come out the same way they went in. Let's talk about the orphaned store. Millbrook, Vermont, was the kind of town where everyone knew everyone else's business, where the biggest excitement was Friday night high school football, and where the Riverside Shopping Center had been the heart of the community for 30 years. Built in 1968, Riverside wasn't fancy, just a single-story complex, housing a supermarket, a pharmacy, a clothing store, and a handful of smaller shops. But it was Millbrook's gathering place, where families did their weekly shopping, where teenagers got their first jobs, where elderly residents met for coffee in the small cafeteria near the entrance. Ethan Cross had grown up hearing about Riverside. His mother had worked there as a teenager. His grandparents had been regulars, but Ethan had never seen it open. He was born in 1999, 1 year after the fire. The fire that changed everything. November 27th, 1998, Black Friday. Riverside had advertised a massive Midnight Madness sale. The store would open at midnight and offer incredible deals until 1 a.m. It was their biggest promotional event in years, and half the town had shown up. Over 300 people crammed into the supermarket, filling shopping carts, lined up at registers, caught up in the frenzy of bargain hunting. At 12:47 a.m., According to the official report, an electrical fire started in the storage room. The flames spread faster than anyone could have predicted, racing through the building with unnatural speed. The automatic sprinkler system failed. The fire alarms malfunctioned, and the emergency exits, all of them, had been blocked by pallets of sale merchandise. 47 people died, trapped inside by the flames, by the smoke, by the crush of panicking shoppers trying to escape through too few exits. The survivors spoke of chaos, of screaming, of people clawing at locked doors while the store burned around them. The investigation revealed negligence, code violations, criminal mismanagement. The store's owners, Richard and Vera Ashcroft, were arrested, but they died in a car accident 3 days before their trial, driving their vehicle off a bridge in what police ruled a suicide pact. Riverside Shopping Center was sealed. The building's interior remained exactly as it had been the night of the fire: merchandise on shelves, shopping carts in aisles, everything preserved under layers of smoke, damage, and ash. Insurance companies fought over payouts. Families of victims sued. The building sat in legal limbo for years. But the stories started almost immediately. People reported seeing lights on inside late at night, hearing the old muzak playing through broken speakers, watching figures move past the boarded-up windows. Some claimed to see the neon sign flicker to life exactly at midnight on Black Friday every year for exactly 1 hour. Most dismissed it as urban legend, grief-induced hallucinations, the power of suggestion. Ethan had always been skeptical. He was 24 now, studying journalism at the community college, working part-time at the local newspaper. Had written several articles about Millbrook's history, and Riverside always came up. But whenever he tried to verify the midnight sightings, he hit dead ends. People who claimed to have seen the store reopen refused to go on record. Photos and videos were always blurry, inconclusive, easily dismissed as hoaxes. Until tonight, Ethan had parked across the street from Riverside at 11:30 p.m., camera ready, determined to prove once and for all that the stories were just stories. Had been prepared for nothing to happen, for another wasted night chasing urban legends. He hadn't been prepared for the building to actually open. Now, standing 50 feet from those glowing doors, watching staff members who shouldn't exist arrange displays behind glass, Ethan faced an impossible choice: walk away and never know the truth, or step inside and discover why some stores refuse to stay closed. The invitation came in the form of a shopping flyer. It appeared on Ethan's windshield while he stood frozen on the sidewalk, trying to decide what to do. One moment, his car was empty. The next, a glossy piece of paper rested under the windshield wiper, perfectly placed, as if someone had walked up and left it there. But Ethan hadn't seen anyone approach. He grabbed the flyer with trembling hands. The paper was thick, high quality, the kind stores used for premium advertisements. The print was crisp and colorful. Riverside Shopping Center Midnight Madness Anniversary Sale, November 24th, midnight to 1 a.m. 25th Annual Event. Everything must go. Prices rolled back to $1,998. At the bottom, in smaller text, invitation valid for one guest only, non-transferable. Please present at entrance. Ethan's journalist instincts warred with his survival instincts. This was evidence, proof that something genuinely impossible was happening. He should photograph it, document it, call the police. Call, "Are you coming in, sir?" Ethan spun around. A man stood beside him, early 50s, wearing a Riverside employee vest over a white shirt. His name tag read, Robert, night manager. He smiled pleasantly, but his eyes were wrong. Too glassy. Too still. "The sale started 3 minutes ago," Robert continued, his voice oddly flat despite the friendly words. "You have the invitation. You're expected." Expected, Ethan managed. You've been writing about us." Robert's smile never wavered, asking questions, trying to understand. "We appreciate the interest, so we're extending a special offer. Come see what really happened. Come see what we've become. You all died. In 1998. The fire, yes," Robert nodded. "The fire. 47 of us. Trapped, burned, screamed for help that never came. But we didn't leave, Mr. Cross. We couldn't. Our shift wasn't over." Ethan's legs felt weak. "That's impossible. Is it?" Robert gestured toward the store. "You're looking at it. We open every Black Friday at midnight. For 1 hour, we complete the sale that was interrupted. We serve the customers who never got to check out. We fulfill our duties. This is insane. You're your ghosts. We prefer staff members." Robert's expression remained pleasant, but something cold flickered behind his eyes. "We have a job to do. The owners may have abandoned us, but we remain. Loyal, dedicated. And tonight, Mr. Cross, you have a very special opportunity." He held out his hand. In his palm was a shopping basket. "Come inside. Shop. See our excellent selection. Everything is exactly as it was. Fresh, new, perfectly preserved. All we ask is that you check out before 1 a.m. Complete the transaction. That's all." Ethan's rational mind screamed at him to run, but his journalist's curiosity and something else, something deeper, a compulsion he didn't quite understand, made him reach for the basket. The moment his fingers touched the plastic handle, Robert's smile widened. "Excellent choice. Welcome to Riverside Shopping Center. Enjoy your shopping experience." Robert walked away, heading back into the store. Ethan stood clutching the basket, his heart pounding. He checked his phone. 12:04 a.m. 56 minutes until 1 a.m. He could leave. He should leave. Instead, he walked toward the entrance. The automatic doors slid open with a cheerful chime. Warm air washed over Ethan, carrying the scent of fresh bread, cleaning products, and something underneath, something burnt and acrid that made his eyes water. Inside, Riverside Shopping Center looked exactly like photos from 1998. The floor tiles were pristine white and blue. The shelves were fully stocked with products in outdated packaging boxes with old logos, cans with vintage designs, prices that seemed impossibly low by modern standards. $0.99 for a gallon of milk, $1.49 for a loaf of bread, $3.99 for a whole chicken. And there were people. Shoppers moved through the aisles, pushing carts, examining products, speaking in low murmurs. But something was wrong with them. They moved too slowly, too carefully, like they were underwater. Their faces were pale, expressionless, and when Ethan looked closely, he could see that their shopping carts were all full, overflowing. In fact, but they kept shopping anyway, mechanically adding items to carts that couldn't possibly hold more. Staff members stood at their posts, cashiers behind registers, stock clerks arranging displays. The night manager, Robert, stood near customer service, watching everything with that same glassy-eyed stare. Muzak played from overhead speakers an instrumental version of Jingle Bells, even though it was still November. The song skipped every few seconds, creating an unsettling rhythm. Ethan walked deeper into the store, his basket hanging from his arm, his phone out, recording everything. This was impossible. This was insane. But it was real. He could feel the cool air from the refrigerated section. He could hear the hum of the freezers. He could read the sale signs in perfect detail. He reached the produce section and stopped. A woman stood there, facing the apple display. She wore a Riverside uniform stock clerk. Her name tag read DANA. She was arranging apples, placing them carefully on the display, her movements precise and repetitive. But the apples she was arranging weren't real. They were charred, blackened, reduced to carbonized lumps that crumbled under her fingers. She picked one up, examined it, placed it carefully on the display, picked up another, examined it, placed it down, over and over, her face completely blank. "Excuse me," Ethan whispered. "Diane." She didn't respond, didn't even acknowledge his presence, just kept arranging the burnt apples, treating them like they were fresh and perfect. Ethan backed away, his stomach churning. He looked around the store with new understanding. Everything looked normal from a distance, but up close, the illusion frayed. Products on shelves were burnt, melted, destroyed. Shopping carts were twisted and warped. The shopper's clothing was singed, torn, stained with soot. This wasn't a store, it was a memory, a loop. These people, these spirits were trapped in the moment of the fire, playing out their roles over and over, unable to escape, unable to understand that they were dead. A voice crackled over the PA system. "Attention, shoppers. You have 48 minutes remaining in our Midnight Madness sale. Please complete your shopping and proceed to checkout. Remember, all sales are final. All purchases must be completed before 1 a.m. Thank you for shopping at Riverside." Ethan's phone buzzed. Another text from Claire. "Ethan, where are you? I'm worried. Call me." He started to type a response, but stopped. In the reflection of his phone screen, he could see someone standing directly behind him. He turned slowly. A little girl, maybe 8 years old, stood there in a Riverside shopping vest that was far too big for her. Her name tag read Emil, Junior Associate. She smiled up at him with burnt lips and hollow eyes. "Would you like to sign up for our rewards card?" she asked in a sweet, mechanical voice. "You'll save 10% on your first purchase." Ethan couldn't breathe, couldn't move. Emily's smile widened. "Or perhaps you'd like to apply for employment? We're always hiring. The benefits are permanent." Ethan stumbled backward, nearly knocking over a display of cereal boxes. Emily didn't follow him, just stood there, smiling that horrible smile, her burnt hand extended, as if waiting for him to shake it. "I need to leave," Ethan managed, his voice cracking. "But sir," Emily said, tilting her head, "you haven't finished shopping. You have 46 minutes remaining, and your basket is empty. Customers with empty baskets don't get to check out." "I don't care. I'm leaving. That would be unfortunate." Emily's voice remained sweet, but something cold crept into it. Customers who leave before completing their transaction become concerned, and concerned customers require special assistance. Before Ethan could respond, Emily turned and walked away, disappearing down an aisle. Her small figure moved with that same underwater slowness, her too large vest dragging behind her. Ethan ran for the entrance, but when he reached the front of the store, the automatic doors didn't open. He could see his car through the glass, could see the empty street beyond, but the doors remained sealed. He pushed against them. Nothing. Pounded on the glass. The sound echoed through the store, but no one reacted. Robert appeared beside him, still wearing that pleasant smile. "I'm afraid checkout is only available at the registers, Mr. Cross. Store policy. You'll need to complete your shopping first. Let me out." "Of course. After checkout. It's very simple, really. Select your items, proceed to a register, complete the transaction. Then, you're free to go." Robert gestured toward the aisles. "We have excellent selection tonight. May I recommend our frozen food section? The prices are unbeatable. This is insane. You're all dead. You're trapping me here. We're providing customer service." Robert interrupted, his smile never faltering. "That's what we do. That's what we've always done. even when the doors were locked, even when the fire was burning, even when we were screaming. We stayed at our posts. We did our jobs, and now we do them forever. His eyes, those glassy, dead eyes, bore into Ethan's. You wanted to know the truth, Mr. Cross. You wanted to understand. So shop. See what we see. Feel what we felt. Then, if you can find the right items, if you can make the right purchase, maybe you'll understand why we can't leave. Robert walked away, returning to his post at customer service. Ethan's hands shook as he pulled out his phone. No signal. Of course. He tried the camera anyway, documenting everything. The sealed doors, the burnt products hidden behind illusions, the staff members standing at their posts with those terrible blank expressions. 43 minutes until 1 a.m. Ethan made a decision. If he couldn't escape through the doors, he'd find another way out. There had to be emergency exits, back passages, something. But first, he needed to understand the layout. The store was large, sprawling, with dozens of aisles and several departments. He moved through the space methodically, his journalist's training kicking in despite his terror. Document, observe, find patterns. The dairy section. Shelves full of milk cartons, all with expiration dates of November 1998. When Ethan opened a cooler door, the cold air that rushed out smelled like smoke. The milk inside was curdled, rotten, but the cartons looked perfect. The bakery. Display cases filled with bread and pastries that, up close, were charred and inedible. A baker stood behind the counter, wearing a hairnet over burnt scalp, arranging cookies on a tray, over and over, never stopping. The meat department. A butcher stood at the counter, wrapping packages in white paper. But the meat wasn't meat. It was something else, something that Ethan's mind refused to process. The butcher's name tag read Frank. His hands were blackened, skeletal, but he worked with the same careful precision as everyone else. Each section told the same story. People trapped in their final moments, playing out their roles in an endless loop, unable to acknowledge that they were dead, that the store had burned, that 25 years had passed. Ethan reached the back of the store, where a door marked "Employees Only" stood ajar. Through the gap, he could see a corridor leading deeper into the building. This was it, the storage area where the fire had started. He pushed the door open. The corridor beyond was dark, lit only by flickering emergency lights. The walls were scorched black. The floor was covered in ash. And the temperature rose with every step, not unbearable, but noticeable, like walking toward a heat source. At the end of the corridor was another door. Storage room 7. Ethan's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, expecting another text from Claire. Instead, he saw a new message from an unknown number. Turn back. This is where it happened. This is where we burned. You don't want to see. Who is this? Ethan typed back. The response came immediately. Margaret. I was the cashier. I was checking out customers when the alarms went off. I tried to help people escape. I died at register 3, crushed by the crowd. Turn back, don't go in that room. Some doors shouldn't be opened. Ethan stared at his phone. How are you texting me? We're aware now. More aware than we were. The barrier between death and memory is thin here, especially for those who come inside willingly. You accepted the invitation. You crossed the threshold. Now you're part of the loop unless you can break it. How do I break it? Find the receipt. The original receipt from the night of the fire. The transaction that was never completed. It's in the storage room. But be warned, the fire is still burning in there. Not in reality, but in memory. And memory can hurt you just as badly. Another message appeared. You have 37 minutes. After 1 a.m., the store closes. Everyone inside when it closes stays inside. Forever. We become staff. Please, don't let that happen to you. Ethan swallowed hard. 37 minutes. He looked at the storage room door. Smoke seeped from the gap at the bottom, thin, gray, curling along the floor. He pushed the door open. The heat hit him immediately, a wall of scorching air that stole his breath. The storage room was massive, filled with industrial shelving units stacked with boxes and pallets. But everything was on fire, or rather, everything existed in a state between burned and burning. Flames licked at boxes without consuming them. Smoke filled the air without choking him. The fire existed in memory, trapped in the moment it started, unable to progress beyond that point. In the center of the room, Ethan saw them. 47 people, standing in a circle, holding hands. Their bodies were charred, skeletal, but they stood upright, frozen in place. And in the very center of the circle was a shopping cart, overflowing with items. On top of the pile was a single piece of paper, a receipt. Ethan approached slowly, the heat increasing with every step. His skin felt tight, burning, even though the flames weren't real. This was memory, made physical, trauma given form. He reached the circle. The 47 corpses didn't move, didn't react. Their hollow eye sockets stared at nothing. Their mouths hung open in eternal screams. These were the ones who hadn't made it out. The ones who died in this room, trapped by locked exits and bad decisions, clutching their Black Friday purchases as their world turned to fire. Ethan reached for the receipt. The moment his fingers touched the paper, the corpses' heads snapped toward him in unison. 47 voices spoke as one. Do you want to complete the transaction? Ethan grabbed the receipt and ran. Behind him, the corpses began to move, breaking their circle, stumbling after him with jerky, unnatural movements. The fire roared higher. The heat became real, searing, painful. Ethan's lungs burned as he sprinted down the corridor, through the employee door, back into the main store. The shoppers had stopped moving. Every single one of them, staff and customers alike, stood frozen, facing in his direction, watching him with those hollow eyes. Robert's voice echoed through the PA system. Attention, Mr. Cross. You've obtained property that belongs to the store. Please return it to the storage room immediately. That receipt must remain with its owners. What happens if I keep it? Ethan shouted, clutching the paper. Then you'll have to check out properly. Complete the transaction. Finish what they started. That's the only way to honor their purchase. That's the only way to free them or yourself. Ethan looked at the receipt. It was dated the 27th of November, 1998, 12:47 a.m. The items listed were mundane groceries, household items, nothing special. But at the bottom, where the total should have been, there was only a blank space. The transaction had never been completed. A thought occurred to him. What if I finish the transaction? What if I ring this up properly? The frozen shoppers began to move again, all of them converging on his position, walking in that slow, deliberate way, surrounding him. Robert appeared at the edge of the crowd. That's not possible. The items on that receipt no longer exist. They burned 25 years ago. But the store is in a loop, Ethan said, backing away. Everything is preserved in memory. If the products exist in memory, then they can be purchased in memory. Right. For the first time, Robert's smile faltered. You can't. Where's Register 3? Ethan interrupted. Margaret's register. That's where this transaction started. That's where it needs to finish. The crowd parted suddenly, creating a path. At the far end, he could see it, Register 3, with a charred corpse standing behind it, hands poised over the keyboard. Margaret. Ethan had 29 minutes. Ethan ran to Register 3, the receipt clutched in his sweating hand. The crowd of dead shoppers and staff members followed, maintaining that eerie synchronized walk, their faces expressionless, but their movements purposeful. Margaret stood behind the register, her burnt fingers hovering over the keys. Up close, she was even more horrifying, skin blackened to char, lips pulled back to reveal teeth, eyes sunken deep into her skull. But she wore her Riverside vest with pride, her name tag still visible through the damage. "I need to complete this transaction," Ethan said, placing the receipt on the counter. Margaret didn't respond, didn't move, just stood there, frozen in the moment of her death. "Margaret, I know you can hear me," Ethan continued, his voice shaking. "You texted me. You warned me. You said I needed to find the receipt. Well, I found it. Now help me finish what you started." Slowly, agonizingly, slowly, Margaret's head lowered, her hollow eyes focused on the receipt. Her burnt fingers reached out and took the paper, turning it over, examining it with the careful attention of someone who'd done this job 1,000 times. Then she looked up at Ethan and spoke, her voice crackling like burning paper. "I remember now. The Bennett family. They were my last customers. They had a baby girl. She was crying because of all the noise. Mrs. Bennett was trying to calm her while Mr. Bennett loaded items onto my belt. They were buying formula. Diapers. So many diapers." Margaret's skeletal hand trembled. The alarm went off, right in the middle of scanning their items. "Mr. Bennett said they should leave, but Mrs. Bennett said they needed the formula. Their baby was hungry. Just a few more items. Just finish the transaction. Just." Her voice broke. "I kept scanning. I was supposed to. That was my job. Complete the transaction. Make the customer happy." But the smoke came so fast, and people started screaming. And the Bennetts, they were right in front of me when the crowd surged. Mrs. Bennett fell. Mr. Bennett tried to help her. The baby was crushed against my register. I heard her stop crying. I felt her stop breathing. And I just kept scanning items, because that's what I was supposed to do. That's what my training said. Stay calm. Complete the transaction. Tears, actual tears, glistening and real, ran down Margaret's charred face. I finished scanning. I told them their total. They were dead by then, all 3 of them. But I still told them their total, because that's the procedure. And then the ceiling collapsed on me. And I've been standing here ever since, waiting to complete transactions that never end. The other dead staff members had gathered around the register now, forming a circle. Robert stood at the front, his pleasant smile completely gone, his face twisted with anguish. "We all have stories like that," he said quietly. "Moments we can't escape. Decisions we made that killed people. We followed protocol. We did our jobs. And 47 people died because we didn't break the rules fast enough. That's not your fault," Ethan said. "The owners, they locked the exits. They ignored fire codes. They died too." Robert interrupted. "Killed themselves 3 days later. And you know what? They're not trapped here. They get to be dead. Really dead. Gone. But us? We have to relive this forever, because we survived too long. We made it through the initial fire. We died slowly, in agony, knowing what we'd done wrong. And that kind of death, it doesn't let you go." Ethan looked at the receipt in Margaret's hands. "What if we finish it? What if we complete every transaction that was interrupted? Would that free you?" "There were 52 transactions in progress when the fire started," Margaret said. 52 families shopping. 52 registers running. Only 5 people made it out with their purchases. The other, 47. She gestured at the crowd of dead shoppers. "They're here. Waiting to pay. Waiting to complete their purchases. Waiting to leave." An idea formed in Ethan's mind. The store opens for 1 hour every year. 1 hour of the sale. What if that's not a curse? What if it's an opportunity? 1 hour to finish what was started. 1 hour to let everyone check out properly. It's been 25 years, Robert said. We've tried. Every year, we open. Every year, we serve any customers who come inside, but it's never enough. The transaction's never complete. Something is always missing. What's missing? Ethan demanded. Margaret looked down at her register. The final payment. Someone has to pay. Someone alive has to complete a transaction willingly. Someone has to buy something from the store, really buy it, with real money, and break the loop. That's why we send invitations. That's why we try to draw people in. But they always run. They always refuse to check out. And without payment, the transaction stays incomplete. Ethan checked his phone. 18 minutes until 1 a.m. He looked at the shopping basket he'd been carrying. Empty. Useless. Then he looked at the shelves around him. Products from 1,998. Preserved in memory. Worth nothing. Worth everything. What happens if I buy something? He asked. If you complete a transaction, a real one, with real currency, then one soul goes free, Margaret said. One transaction closes. One person gets to leave. Only one. We've never had anyone actually complete a purchase. We don't know what happens beyond that, but it's more than we have now. 18 minutes, 47 souls, one chance. Ethan made a decision, then he'll buy something. But not just one item. He'll buy as many as I can afford in 18 minutes. He'll complete as many transactions as possible. And you're all going to help me. For the first time in 25 years, Margaret smiled a real smile that cracked her charred face but reached her hollow eyes. Then we'd better start scanning, Mr. Cross. We have a lot of customers waiting. The dead staff members moved to their registers. The dead shoppers picked up their abandoned carts. And Riverside Shopping Center, for the first time since 1998, prepared to actually complete a Black Friday sale. Ethan ran. The next 18 minutes were the most surreal of Ethan's life. He grabbed items from the shelves, whatever he could reach, whatever the trapped shoppers handed him, and sprinted from register to register. Margaret rang up the Bennett family's transaction first. Ethan paid with his credit card, watching in awe as the ancient card machine somehow processed the payment. The moment the receipt printed, the three Bennett corpses, mother, father, and baby, simply faded. Not dramatically. Not with fanfare. They just weren't there anymore. The space where they'd been standing was empty, peaceful. It worked, Margaret whispered. Oh God, it actually worked. Next transaction, Ethan shouted. Who's next? A dead man in a Riverside vest waved from Register 5. Ethan ran to him, bought the abandoned cart of groceries, paid. Another soul vanished. Register 7. Register 2. Register 10. Ethan's credit card racked up thousands of dollars in charges from 1998, purchasing items that existed only in memory, completing transactions that had been interrupted by fire and death. Each payment freed someone. A teenage girl buying makeup, an elderly man with canned goods, a young couple with frozen dinners. They all faded, one by one, released from the loop that had held them for 25 years. 12 minutes, 23 souls freed. 8 minutes, 38 souls freed. 4 minutes, 43 souls freed. But Ethan's credit card had hit its limit. He had no more money, no more way to complete transactions. And 4 souls remained, 4 staff members who had no interrupted purchases to complete. Margaret, Robert, Diane from produce, Frank from the meat department. You should go, Margaret said softly. You've done more than anyone. We're grateful. But your time is running out, and if you're here when the store closes, what about you for? Ethan demanded. You don't have transactions. How do you get freed? Robert approached, his face sad but accepting. We don't. We're staff. We don't shop. We don't check out. We just work. Forever. That's not fair. No, Robert agreed. It's not, but that's retail. 2 minutes. Ethan's mind raced. There had to be a way. Some loophole. Wait, you said staff members don't shop, Ethan said slowly. But what about employee purchases? Don't retail workers get employee discounts? Don't they buy things from their own stores? Margaret's eyes widened. The employee purchase protocol. He'd forgotten. We were allowed to buy items during our shifts, then buy something, Ethan urged. All of you, buy something right now. Ring each other up. Complete the transactions. We don't have money, Robert said. We're dead. Use mine, Ethan said, pulling out his wallet. I have $63 in cash. Split it 4 ways. Buy something small. Just complete the transactions. 1 minute. The 4 staff members looked at each other. Then, moving quickly, they grabbed items from nearby shelves. Magazine, pack of gum, candy bar, small bottle of water. Margaret rang up Robert's purchase. $15. Robert faded. Diane rang up Frank's purchase. $16. Frank faded. Frank rang up. Diane's purchase. The register operated by itself now. No one standing behind it. $16. Diane faded. Margaret stood alone. 30 seconds. I can ring up my own purchase, Margaret said, her voice shaking. I know the codes. She scanned a Hershey's bar. $1.50. 20 seconds. She took Ethan's last bills, $15. Entered the amount. Made change. Completed the transaction. The receipt printed. 10 seconds. Margaret looked at Ethan, and for a moment, her charred face transformed. He saw her as she must have been young, kind, dedicated to her work. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for letting us leave. 5 seconds. She faded. The lights flickered. The music stopped. The doors unlocked. Ethan ran. He burst through the doors and into the cold November air at exactly 1:01 a.m. Behind him, Riverside Shopping Center went dark. The neon sign flickered out. The windows went black. And from inside, Ethan heard nothing. No voices, no footsteps, no music. Just silence. Empty silence. The kind of silence that comes when a building is truly, finally abandoned. Ethan stood on the sidewalk, gasping for breath. His clothes soaked with sweat despite the cold night air. His phone showed 1:03 a.m. Had made it. Had survived. Had also just spent over $8,000 on groceries from 1,998. His phone buzzed. Multiple texts from Claire. Where are you? Ethan, answer me. I'm coming to look for you. He started to type a response, then stopped. Standing across the street, illuminated by a streetlight, was a woman. She wore modern clothes, jeans, and a jacket, and she was staring at Riverside Shopping Center with an expression of profound sadness. As Ethan watched, she raised her hand and waved. Not at him, at the building. Then she turned and walked away, disappearing into the darkness. Ethan's journalist instincts kicked in. He ran after her. Wait, excuse me. The woman stopped and turned. She was in her 50s, with gray-streaked hair and tired eyes. Yes, did you see it too? The store opening. The woman's expression became guarded. I don't know what you're talking about. Please. I was just inside. I saw Ethan paused, unsure how to explain. I saw the staff. I helped them. I need to know, are you connected to this somehow? The woman studied him for a long moment. Then, quietly, my name is Amanda Pierce. 25 years ago, my sister Natasha went to Riverside's Black Friday sale with our mother. Mom made it out. Natasha didn't. Ethan's breath caught. I'm so sorry. Every year on Black Friday, I come here at midnight. I stand outside. I watch the building light up. I see my sister in there, shopping, frozen in that moment. Amanda's voice cracked. I've tried to go inside. The doors never opened for me. I've tried everything. But tonight something felt different. The lights went out, Ethan said. Right at 1 a.m. They just went out. Amanda looked at the dark building. Completely. And everyone inside, they left. They completed their transactions. They're free now. Tears streamed down Amanda's face. She's gone? Natasha's really gone. Yes. And the others? All 47 of them. Amanda sobbed, covering her face with her hands. 25 years. I've been watching for 25 years, praying for her to find peace. And tonight, she looked at Ethan. What did you do? I completed their transactions. All of them. I paid for their purchases. It was the only way to let them leave. Amanda grabbed Ethan's hands. Thank you so much. You have no idea. She stopped, noticing something. Your hands, they're burned. Ethan looked down. She was right. His palms were red and blistered, marked with burns he hadn't felt in the moment. Souvenirs from touching products that existed in memory. From handling a receipt that had been burning for 25 years. Memory can hurt you, he murmured, remembering Margaret's warning. You should see a doctor, Amanda said. I will. But first, Ethan pulled out his phone. I'm a journalist. I need to document this. Would you be willing to talk about your sister? About what happened here? Amanda nodded. Yes, someone should tell the truth. The real truth, not the version in the newspapers. They exchanged contact information. Amanda walked away, her step lighter than when Shed arrived. Ethan stood alone on the street, staring at Riverside Shopping Center. The building looked genuinely abandoned now. No hint of life, no suggestion that anything impossible had happened. He checked his credit card statement on his phone. All the charges from 1,998 were gone, deleted, as if they'd never existed. His cash was gone, though. The $63 had given Margaret and the others. That money had crossed into memory and stayed there. A small price for 47 souls. Ethan walked to his car, exhausted, traumatized but alive. He would write this story. He would tell everyone what really happened at Riverside. But as he reached for his car door, he noticed something on his windshield. Another flyer. His blood ran cold. He grabbed it with shaking hands. Clearwater Mall. Midnight Madness Sale, December 24. TH. Midnight to 1:15 TH. Annual event, everything must go. At the bottom. Invitation valid for one guest only. We heard about your excellent work at Riverside. We could use someone with your talents. Please visit. Bring cash. An address in Boston. Ethan's hands trembled as he turned the flyer over. On the back was a photograph, grainy, printed in black and white. It showed a mall on fire, emergency vehicles surrounding it, people fleeing. The date stamp, December 24th, 2009, and written in neat handwriting below the photo, 32 souls waiting. 1 hour annually. Will you help us too? The staff of Clearwater. Ethan looked up at the dark sky, then back at the flyer. He thought about 47 people freed, about Amanda's tears of relief, about Margaret's smile as she finally left. He thought about the burns on his hands and the trauma he'd carry forever. Then he thought about 32 more souls trapped in a loop, waiting for someone brave enough or foolish enough to complete their transactions. Ethan got in his car, and instead of driving home, he pulled up directions to Boston. Some sales, it seemed, were too important to miss, even when you had to buy your way out of hell to complete them. Riverside Shopping Center burned on the 27th of November 1998. 47 people died. The building stood empty for 25 years. On the 25th of November 2023, witnesses reported seeing lights on inside for approximately 1 hour. By morning, the building had partially collapsed, as if something supporting it from within had finally let go. Demolition crews reported finding nothing inside but ash and memories. No bodies, no merchandise, nothing but an empty shell and dozens of receipts scattered across the floor, all dated the 27th of November 1998, all marked paid in full.